Hey, also Intermission Nerds here. I am going through our Tamiya 801XT, kind of giving it just a bit of a refresh, and I inquired earlier about anybody that wants to see anything a little bit more in detail to let me know. I've had 2 people request the clutch. So that's what this video is. Simply the Tamiya 801XT clutch as I put it together. Now, a few things. First, I normally just run the M2C Racing Fort shoe because I like that for the truggy better, but why not just go ahead and throw the stock clutch on so you guys can see it. Second, I do have actually some pretty interesting clutch videos coming up soon. First is Clutch Tuning 201. It's been a while since I've been more excited about a video than this, so that's coming out in a few days. The next one is specific to the Savage and the various clutch setups that are available. There's a lot of ambiguity about this machine right here and which clutches you can run. And I've seen a lot of these, internet forum clowns that are out there trying to correct people, telling them, which clutch setups will work and not work, when they hadn't even heard of the ones that they're trying to dismiss. I'm not trying to be rude or anything like that. They can bully whoever the hell they want, but when they set their sights on me, I'm gonna basically call them out. And I'm not trying to brag or anything like that. I don't think you'll find anybody who's run more clutch setups on their Savage than I have. And, again, it's a fact. I mean, if you know anybody, let me know. I'd love to talk to that person. I'd respect the hell out of their opinion. So, anyways, you can see I'm going to walk you guys through different, clutch bells, clutch setups, TVPs, engine plates, everything you need to know, what works and doesn't work on the Savage. Here's where I'm different from, these guys like Girly Pants and those other jokers. I'm going to show you. So instead of dismissing something that I've never owned or seen or know anything about and leaving it at that, well, seeing is believing, right? And, this isn't to try to, I guess, out of spite at these guys or whatever. I mean, in my opinion, they're a lost cause. I'm not even going to waste my time with them. But I do care about the people that are new and that really deserve sound advice. For you guys, Tamiya specific, there's one thing that you want to be aware of, and that is the Tamiya clutch bell. The wall depth on it is quite thin. I've got a few here. I'll show you. Here are the Tamiya bells. This one here is Offna. This is Losi, and this is a Mugen. All right. So here's, let's say, a Losi one. Right? By wall depth, forgive my hands, they're greasy already, but the wall depth is how deep or shallow it is. Here's a Tamiya one. Look at the difference, right? So this bell here is going to fit over more shoes than this one. Now this bell here might cause it to extend further and rub against something, who knows? It's just a whole, it's a maze. You got to know what you're working with. The Savage one is probably closest to the Tamiya in wall depth. The wall depth of the Tamiya is pretty much the same as the Savage vented bell, which is a little bit shallower than their standard bells. One of my subscribers asked about if there are any other bells that can be run with Tamiya. I'm sure there absolutely are. Again, I would probably start with the Savage, but I don't know. I haven't tried it out. But these bells here work fine. This is the original one. This one here has probably, I don't know, a gallon, maybe 3/4 of a gallon. It's pretty new. This one's brand new. So if you're having troubles with your bells, I don't think it's the bell. I think maybe it's the way it's shimmed. Who knows? But I'll walk you through how I shim. All right. First thing is you definitely want to make sure that you use the proper collet, because the collet really shims the flywheel. Now this flywheel here is recessed a little bit, not a whole lot, but you can see right there. So if you have a collet already, that was the Tamiya one, that's fine, you can leave it on. What you want to look for is something like I have right here, which is some scoring around it, indicating that it was slipping at some point. I'm going to take this off, replace it with the stock one. Now when you take the collet off, what I do is I get a little screwdriver and I just kind of pry where the little, the seam is, and it usually gets it right off. Be careful though, because if you stretch it too much, you've ruined the collet. Then of course you just put it on. Now I may have to reposition all this, but well, I actually won't because everything is stock. But if you're using an aftermarket, just make sure you hang on to the other stuff. Put the collet on, very simple. Now I got the flywheel. Put the flywheel on, make sure it's not binding, press it down as hard as you can. Feels good. Now, as important as collets are, and I keep a lot of different sizes just, in case, most important of all, in my mind at least, are clutch nuts. A lot of times they're going to look the same, but I promise you they're not. So this right here is the clutch nut for this this clutch. I don't want to use this one. I don't want to use this one. You want to use the one that came with it because it affects everything in my mind. Now, this isn't to say that you can't use another one, vice versa, but just know that there's more to it than just the way it looks. A little difference will ruin everything. Now, periodically I do put just a little bit of thread lock. I just put some on there. It's not going to hurt. The next thing is when you put the actual nut on, you want to make sure that you get it facing the right direction. The Tamiya springs, these ones right here, are pretty standard. If you're looking for any other aftermarkets, OFNA works well. These are the OFNA ones right here. I'd recommend myself the VP Pro. So as an example, let's say I wanted to have one of the shoes engaged a little earlier, what I could do is spring down here using one of these VP Pro gold shoes. You can see our springs. It's pretty much the same size, or if I wanted to spring up, etc. So OFNA, VP Pro, and I think there's a few other I can find if anybody wants to know. What you don't want to do though is put something like a Mugen spring on it, just because it's not going to work. Well, it will. It's just not going to work well. And certainly, what you don't want to do is put like a spring here from M2C. Now, the important part is shimming it, putting the shoes on specifically, because if you follow the instructions in the manual for the Tamiya, you're fine. You want to use these shims right here. If you don't, what will happen is your flywheel will no longer look nice and pretty like that. It's going to look like this. I got cute one time, didn't put the shims on, and it rubbed up against it. Another time I got cute, and I used different shims. All right, so they were the same size. The problem is they weren't they were a little bit thicker. And here's what happened. Hopefully you guys can see. The shoes actually raised up too far, rubbed against the top of the bell. So now I got the shoes on. I mean, there's no special trick to it. There's a lot of videos that show you how to do that. I'm happy to show you. Just give a little test, make sure they're on there fine. Now you shim the bell. This is, without a doubt, the most important part. I'm not going to use the new bell. I'm going to use the slightly used one, which is this one here. First thing I'm going to do is clean it all out. A lot of ways to clean the bell out. In this instance here, I just used some contact cleaner, paper towels, really. I've used steel wool, emery boards, emery cloth, whatever. The whole idea is you just want to get all the grime, all the crap you're seeing on my fingers. You want to get that stuff on your fingers off the bell, because it doesn't matter how tight your clutch is. If it can't grip here, it's going to slip. Bad things are going to happen. Now this clutch, interestingly enough, takes this, 5x20 shim for the inner bearing right here. I'm not a big fan of this. What happens, you can see right here, if you're having troubles with your existing Tamiya 801XT clutch, you might want to consider replacing that inner shim. You can see how it's really gotten tweaked, and then what happens is it'll get bent, and when it goes like this, then the bell, you'll see here shortly what it does if it's not put on correctly. But my point is, just as a good practice, change this out as often as you can. Now the golden rule is fewer the shims needed, the better. I went ahead and I deviated from the instructions a little bit in that I put on 2 of the 5x1 millimeter, 0.01 millimeter shims in addition to this 5x20. But more importantly, between the spacer and the screw, I put on 3 of the those little 3x1s, these little small ones right here. I put 3 of those. That was really the only way, because what was happening was the bell is so shallow, the shoes were touching, and since I raised it up, I had to shim the top a little bit more. The thing I don't like is this right here, the little bit of wobble that I got. I like the play okay. It's about 0.7 millimeter. I just don't like that wobble. That's almost always because of the bearings. I'm going to put new bearings on. I just don't have them right now. You can see I'm actually using, or I've used, I should say, the Tamiya clutch on the Savage. This is the F4.6 engine right here. It works fine. So here it is with the Robinson Racing bell. I mean, you can see it's shimmed perfectly. It fits fine. I do have some very specific Savage clutch videos coming soon. All these guys that are out there on these forums correcting me, telling me that I'm wrong about certain clutches working on the Savage. Well, you know, I guess I'll just have to show you, or show the people that are asking that you're telling it's not possible. That's the only way I know how to do it. Show them. And here's the end result. You can see it's shimmed, properly aligned, all that good stuff.